She was 16 when her life narrowed to a single room and a single sound. While classmates traded playlists and practiced parallel parking, she learned to flush lines, tape tubing, and set alarms on a gray machine that hummed through the walls like weather. Her stepmother's kidneys had failed without ceremony. The living room turned clinical, bright with soft LEDs and the sterile sweetness of antiseptic. Her father hauled freight on long routes. He came home in snapshots that smelled like diesel and coffee, then disappeared again into distance. Someone had to be home. That someone was her. She left the diner job with a nod and a quiet apology. The manager folded her apron and told her the door would be open if life ever did her a kindness. 95% of viewers aren't subscribed. Subscribing is free, takes seconds, and makes a real impact. Click subscribe and be part of the growth. Please turn on the bell for more updates. Time learned new names. There was medication time, flush time, nap time, appointment time, the slow hour when the machine whirred like a low tide. When her phone lit with invitations, she silenced it. Eventually, it stopped lighting. Friends drifted toward campuses, road trips, and ordinary pictures. She edited her world down to lists on the fridge. Her stepmother tried to be gracious, and most days she was. Pain, however, is grammar built of fragments. It broke sentences into sharp syllables, then left apologies like loose threads. The girl poured water, adjusted pillows, and learned the art of leaving a room before words could bruise. Then the call arrived that felt like sunrise under a door. A donor. A real match. Her father cried on the porch and called it dust. The girl stood still and listened to hope breaking its long fast. The surgery worked. The machine rolled out like a retired guard. Her stepmother came home thinner but lighter, newly particular about oranges and morning light. Soup replaced the smell of bleach. Laughter misstepped through hallways that had forgotten the tune. She was 18 and ready to turn noise into motion. She took a job stacking grocery aisles into small geographies of order and price. She saved in a jar that lived behind sweaters, a secret clink that sounded like exit music. Her father told her she could stay forever if she kept working and didn't drift. It felt like generosity resting on a leash. She met him in a midnight forum about secondhand furniture and stayed for his careful humor. Their voices learned each other's edges long before their hands did. When they finally met, bus station coffee, 2 shy waves, the city felt possible. He lived 2 states away in a room with thin walls and patience. When his lease ended, they said the word together, try. She found cheap listings with ceilings like bread about to fall. His budget met hers like 2 palms pressed through a window. Her father scrolled through photos and shook his head at bars on windows and paint peeling like sunburn. Her stepmother asked about locks, about neighbors, about the certainty of night. The compromise came dressed as kindness. Stay here, both of you. Save faster, move later. He moved in on quiet feet. He carried a duffel that did not complain and bought a plant that did. He thanked her stepmother for stew, scrubbed pans, and stacked his shoes out of traffic. It did not matter. The house learned a new tension. The comments were small at first. Longer showers, louder doors, lighter paychecks. They grew larger in the dark. By August, she chose a date. End of October, they would go. The lease they signed was honest about its flaws. Her parents nodded with a relief that sounded like impatience, as if their blessing had somewhere else to be. Then her stepmother forgot a pot on a cold burner and laughed at her own clumsiness. She lost a word and replaced it with a shrug. She began to drag her right foot. A scan made the quiet official, a frontal lobe tumor, aggressive, predicting a map no one wished to read. The doctor spoke gently. The calendar did not. All the old expectations returned like furniture uncovered. You'll stay, they said. She'll need hands. Quit for a while. Be here. The girl breathed, nodded, made soup. She shortened her shifts and lengthened her lists. She learned the new rhythm. Clear mornings that crumbled, afternoons that wandered, nights that repeated questions like prayers. At night, she packed. A book, 2 mugs, the plant stubborn green, the jar of savings that looked smaller in the light. Her boyfriend taped boxes and did not lecture. He named the rooms in the new place as if names might hold walls straight. The last week of October arrived like a clock finishing a sentence. She sat with her father at the table marked by years of hot mugs. "We're moving Saturday," she said. "Now?" he asked, not unkind, disbelieving. "Now," she said. He called her cruel without using the word. She explained without defending. They fell silent, two people holding a rope from different ends. On Friday, she combed her stepmother's hair and said she would go in the morning. "Good," her stepmother answered. Go while going is still a choice. The girl folded the comb into a drawer and tried to memorize the exact warmth of the hand she was holding. Morning came careful and gray. She wrote a note of visiting hours and grocery plans, set it beside the fruit bowl, and lifted the stuck door until it let go. Outside, the car looked smaller under boxes. Her boyfriend locked the plant between paper and air and said ready without question marks. They drove. The old house shrank into a story. Hills held their breath in rust and gold. She kept her hands still in her lap and let silence be the truest thing offered. The apartment door stuck unless you lifted it a gentle inch. The window clicked at odd hours. The refrigerator hummed like a file of bees. They made a bed. The frame protested like an old man in weather. A lamp found them a corner of warm. They ate noodles from the pot and invented where the cups would live. That night she stood at the window and watched the city speak in small languages. Dog tags, bus breaks, a radio 2 floors down, repeating a chorus it loved too much. Air moved all the way to the top of her lungs. It felt like standing at the edge of a lake and remembering you could float. The weeks began to braid themselves. On weekdays, she rode buses with stubborn schedules and learned the mathematics of rent. On weekends, she returned to the old house with groceries and patient time. She learned how to hold two truths without tearing. She was gone, she was not abandoning. Her father learned how to say thank you into his sleeve. They constructed a truce out of calendars. Her stepmother's world shrank to a chair, a window, and a handful of strong memories that arrived out of order. Some days she was bright and curious, asking whether the neighbor's radio still overused the same cord. Some days she watched dust and called it snow. The girl answered both with the same voice. Winter slid in. The apartment learned their steps and stopped protesting. The plant leaned toward the south like a small believer. She discovered the kindness of a kettle that clicks when ready. She stored small joys in kitchen drawers with the rubber bands. One evening, she returned late and found her father on the porch with 2 mugs and a silence that looked like a bridge. He asked if the window still rattled in wind. She said yes, and that she minded less than she expected. He nodded as if he had been given a map. They did not solve anything. They shared hot water until steam stopped pretending. On a Tuesday, her stepmother asked whether the new place sounded different. The girl said yes. It sounded like a clock that belonged to her. The woman smiled in a way that forgave nothing and blessed much. "Take the oranges," she said later. "They're too bright to leave behind." She took them, and she took the bus, and she took the evening like medicine that did not taste awful. Some nights grief knocked like the building inspector. She let it in and gave it a chair. Some mornings relief rang the bell and waited while she found keys. She learned the difference between loneliness and space. She discovered she could sleep through her own breathing. She did not count the days left. She counted pills, receipts, and the buses she could catch at 20 after. She learned the trick of stepping over the squeaky board when she carried memories through the dark. She kept the plant alive. By late winter, the apartment felt less like a borrowed coat. The neighbors' names found her. The city learned her silhouette. She hung a cheap curtain and called it a door between rooms. She taped 2 photographs to the fridge, a bus ticket and a bowl of oranges lit like small suns. One afternoon, her father texted, "She smiled today." The girl replied with a picture of steam above soup. Later, she stood by the window with the plant and said out loud, just to hear it, here. The word filled the room without echo. Spring would come when it was ready. For now, the radiator ticked like old applause, and the city dimmed toward evening. She washed 2 bowls, dried them on a towel that shed thread, and let the quiet belong to her without apology. Thanks for watching Story Frame. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell for more updates. See you in the next video.